if everybody had this system up and running and we were capturing video and storing it, we would be out of storage in 23 days.
I would love to have a robot this serious about delivering my Papa John's pizza.
So this is really being worked on.
That's so rough. That's so rough to watch. Hey y'all, welcome to AI Experts React, the show where we separate sci-fi from reality and fiction from the future. Today we are diving into the world of Black Mirror. It's a series that often feels like tomorrow's news. We'll explore how these moments are either part of today's tech. We're gonna bust some myths and talk real world AI. I'm here with Hart Brown, CEO of FPOV, Riley Howell, AI alchemist, and yours truly, Firas Garfey, the AI cowboy. All right, our first episode we're gonna be talking about is Be Right Back. It's season 2, episode 1. So the idea here is, what if you could bring someone back from the dead digitally? In this episode, we're gonna explore the intersection of grief, memory, and of machine learning. Can artificial intelligence really recreate a person, or is it just a comforting illusion? Let's see how close we are to building the ultimate synthetic companion. Let's dive in.
Hello, I've locked myself out of the house again.
I'm gonna take you on holidays.
Woohoo!
Where are you going?
Don't go to meet your friends. Hello, I'm no good at birthday presents. I love you. Say something. Yeah. So, how am I sounding?
Yeah, so here's what's happening. One, she had already built a sort of chatbot type of AI model that she can just type back and forth to. That's very easy. That takes minutes to sort of create something that you can actually communicate back and forth. Very, very simple to do. No cost for the most part to do something like that. Now, the second part of that is now she wants to talk. So she wants to give the text voice. So she would ask a question either via text and get something back voice, or she asks voice and get something back on voice. Very easy to do overall, not that complicated. Really right now, she's just loading in voice and video sort of samples for the system to sort of understand how this person should talk. And to be able to do this in real time right now, it's about $200 a month. You can actually load all of a person's information into a system, create a voice, and have it start talking to you. Absolutely possible.
Riley?
Yeah, this kind of transfers a little bit into the realm of deepfake technology as well. We do a lot of work with that here, and really it only takes about 6 or so minutes of audio to convincingly create someone's voice. And you can do that for free if you have the audio. Just find something on YouTube, get that audio, put it in, and then now you're making somebody say something that they've never said. But you can apply that technology to a chatbot so that it says what the chatbot outputs. And so you can build a whole system like that without a ton of real effort in today's technology.
Show me what it looks like there.
How?
Use the camera on your phone.
You weren't ever really impressed with views. When we went to the Grand Canyon, you said it was just a big gap.
I tweeted that too.
Yeah, I remember the roaming charges. You were overly proud of that definition.
I was just speaking my mind.
Yeah, well, shut up and cup a load of this.
Yeah, mainly just green, isn't it?
ChatGPT launched something like this, 3, 4, 5 months ago?
Yeah, so this is sort of a new thing that's starting to come out over the last few months. Even the last sort of few weeks, we're starting to see more people dive in. Like, this is becoming really important part of this AI ecosystem. So OpenAI has come out with a product, you've got Apple that's come out with a product, you've got Google that's come out with a product, you've got Meta that's come out with a product with the sort of glasses. All of those will take real-time video sort of through the camera and be able to interpret what it's seeing and react in real time to that. So very possible. It's happening in real time now. We're going to see a lot more of this here coming up in the future. And really some of the interesting things that this is going to be used for are sort of people that may have a disability with their eyesight. So they can actually use the camera and get a narrative of what is being seen through the camera and translate that to a person. So they obviously are able to get more and more information through that. So some really, really interesting, wonderful applications to this.
That's life-changing.
Absolutely.
Riley, have you seen this technology used elsewhere?
Yeah, image recognition is a huge frontier in AI. And what they're working on now, OpenAI just released a new image model that really improved the graphics generation capabilities. And the one thing that makes that version of that special is the multimodality of it. It's blending the image understanding with the element of language understanding. So you can really get a full context of what is in an image and the different elements within that. So that can be applied to almost every field, robotics especially, and things like self-driving cars or other autonomous robots, being able to recognize what's in front of them and then interpret that into language. It both helps the understanding of the robot be able to perform the task appropriately, but also it helps the overseers of those robots understand the kind of thought process and what that robot is seeing and how it's interpreting. Because it's a lot easier for us to understand a little sentence or paragraph about what's in front of the robot and what it's going to do with it than a whole bunch of code and data that we have to then sift through and interpret.
So next we're going to look at the entire History of You episode. That was season 1, episode 3. So imagine being able to rewind your life like a DVR. Every memory, every glance, every lie replayed in vivid detail. But would perfect recall bring truth or obsession? Today we look at memory, privacy, and surveillance in an age of augmented reality. Riley, let's start with the tech. What comes close? Anything?
Nothing at the level of implanting your body and then letting it play back through your eyes. There's nothing out there quite at that level yet. There's obviously Neuralink that you can control things with your brain with an implant, but not something like this. In terms of like external technology, there's lots of little devices. I'm sure you've heard of like the Humane Pen, or like Plod has some stuff that kind of records the conversations around you at your own will, or just all the time if you wanted it to. And then it can use AI to analyze that and play it back, give you sentiment on that, some of the conversations you had, what the AI's thoughts were of how things go, answer questions about what you did, things like that. So that part definitely exists right now. But as the kind of transhumanism aspect, becoming like a cyborg to interface with these things, we're not quite there yet.
So I have a few problems with this one, right? So,
right.
I mean, one, you've got what appears to be some nature of like a contact lens or some sort of lens, right? Then you've got this little thing in the behind your ear, and there's no good reason, to be honest, for that. And then you have a remote control. And so I don't really know what all the pieces are intended to do, but here's what I can say. If you're going to record something for 24 hours a day, right, in high resolution sort of video environment today, you're talking about a potential terabyte of video content for one person for one day, right? If I take all the storage available in the entire world right now, it's like 181 zettabytes. Now, just to give you a sense for how fast we would go through all of that, if with 7.8 billion people on the planet, if everybody had this system up and running and we were capturing video and storing it, we would be out of storage in 23 days.
Wow.
Like is not possible.
It's not
It
possible.
doesn't even matter what we want to be able to do with this video content. We can't capture and store that much. Like police officers and police departments that have the body cameras, one of the biggest challenges is where you store all of that video. Becomes a big challenge. I love this one. I love this one. So the sort of TSA question of, has anybody given you a package in the past day that you don't know to walk onto the plane with? Like, this is replacing that question, right? So we're doing a completely digital sort of screening process for a person getting on the plane, but the TSA agent is still wearing gloves. Like, I'm not really sure why we're using a digital platform and wearing gloves at the same time here to screen for people before they get onto a plane.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So do you think AI memory analysis could be the next step in biometric screening?
So here's the interesting part is that, you know, they're sort of highlighting that this is a potential that we would know where you are over the past 24 hours, or we can screen where you've been over the past 24 hours to let you sort of on a plane. The challenge with that is you can delete, and in the show it shows like you can delete scenes. And so if there's a hole in the scene or there's a hole in in the process, does that mean you go into a different screening process, or how does that sort of work? But the idea now that you can do this, and we're trying to eliminate potential hazards getting onto a plane, if somebody knows the new process, okay, that means I can't look or see anything that might be bad in 2 weeks before I get on a plane. Like, you would have this cat and mouse that people would still try and game if they wanted to do something.
That makes sense. Riley, would you let anybody scan your memories before you got on a flight?
No way.
No way. Absolutely not.
No way.
It's not happening. I'm not flying anymore.
As a cybersecurity nerd, no way.
Absolutely not. Everybody get in the SUV. We're road tripping to California. All right, now we're going to dive into the episode called Nosedive, Season 3, Episode 1. Likes follows stars. What if your social score dictated your entire life? Speaking of likes and follows, make sure that you like or subscribe to this YouTube channel so that we can continue to give you some more of this content. So let's look at how AI might influence your reputation.
You want a cookie with that? It's on the house.
Sounds awesome. See you tomorrow, JJ.
See you, Lacey.
Oh, saw your boy in the fire hat just now. So cute.
Yeah, he's really something.
Riley?
Mm-hmm.
That almost looks like reality.
It's getting pretty close sometimes. Gives me the kind of vibe of turning around the little thing, say, "Here, where's my tip?"
Right.
Giving you the 5 stars.
Right.
It's like an obligation almost. It's kind of interesting.
Heart?
Yeah, so in many cases, this is already happening, right? So we're constantly rating other people, whether it be on social media or some other sort of driving platform or vacation platform or whatever it may be. We're rating each other. It's not just a one-way street. And that rating process for a lot of people psychologically does give a sort of a release of dopamine. Like, okay, I got a good rating. Like, that was there's a gamification process that has a potential to become a bit addictive, right? And so in this case, what we're starting to see is that all people are almost required to rate each other on every single interaction. And on our device, our phone, and we're capable of doing this now, our phone is looking at everybody else's phones to see who's in close proximity, so you know, in fact, who to rate. So you may not even really know them, but you still could potentially rate them. Now, the interesting part of this on a social currency basis, which is where this is going to start to lead us, is do we monetize that in some way, or how do we manage that? Is an important part of our world to sort of manage our social currency? And that's where this is really going to get to. And what's interesting is that there are a couple of countries, specifically China, that have tried to create a social sort of currency process where people can manage their profile financially, social media, and even sort of whistleblowers calling in. And that social credential, your social sort of monetization of that actually has meaningful impact. You can and can't do certain things based on your potential scores.
It raises an interesting question as to like the companies that control this. Obviously, some organization has to run the platform that does all this. And with that, like how does the algorithm get determined? Is it a peer average? Is it weighted based on other people's rankings that they give you? Say a 5-star gives you a 5-star, or a 1-star, does that mean more than a 3-star giving you that same rating? And then like, are they transparent about that? Can you pay money to raise your score? It adds a whole lot of
Absolutely.
nuance to the...
You can gamify it.
You could
find the
gamify it.
loopholes.
People do that with video games and stuff all the time. You can buy currency to get ahead. Same type of thing.
Absolutely. Makes sense. Are ads already using AI to advertise to us, and are they doing it based on our behavior and mood?
So yes, personalization and potentially hyper-personalization of advertising is already happening. There's a number of ways that can happen. If you're watching a show, all of a sudden it's starting to recognize the patterns of what you watch and provide you advertisement that may make more sense to you. If you're in a store, in certain cases, you'll be given an advertisement on your phone. Maybe it's a coupon or a discount. If you're in a competitor's store, sometimes you're given a discount or a code sent to your phone to go to the competitor's place and get out of the place you're currently in now. So this sort of targeted, whether location-based or behavior-based or based on your preferences that you watch on TV, all of that is, in fact, happening and is becoming successful for the advertisers themselves. I think what's interesting on this one, when you look at the tech, because there's a couple of ways that this actually can happen. One, you can change sort of billboards in real time. That's happening now based on the data around the billboard. You can look at people's phones and those kinds of things and say, okay, who's around my billboard? I'm going to change it based upon that. Think of Times Square, right? Those kinds of things are sort of happening. In this case, it could be location-based. So this person's phone, they're walking by the billboard. You send the image is either captured from the billboard or the image from your phone. Your profile is then sent to an AI, and an AI maps you right onto the image itself. Like, that's possible. The interesting part of this one, and why I would say this actually can happen, like this is real as far as the technology is concerned, is she's by herself. She's walking down the street by herself. It's one person, it captures her image either sent from her phone or based on location, or it captures on a camera based on the billboard and puts her up on the billboard. Like, that's possible. If we had hundreds or thousands of people walking by this billboard, it might be a little bit more complicated as to how the tech would in fact work. But that's possible.
You know, thinking about how the tech could work, if each person had their own augmented contact lenses or glasses that they were wearing, then obviously it would overlay over that billboard and it's a done deal.
Everybody can see something different.
Exactly.
That's right. Yeah.
Hi there, how you doing?
I am wonderful.
I am so sorry. That flight is canceled.
No.
Customer incident at the other end.
What? So when is the next flight?
Yeah, they're all kind of full.
I booked this weeks ago. It's my best friend's wedding.
I'm sorry.
I have to get there. I have to.
Okay, I mean, let's see what we can do.
Oh, thank you.
I see there's one standby seat on another plane leaving tonight.
Oh, okay.
That's reserved for members of our Prime Flight program. You gotta be a 4.2 or over to qualify.
Oh, I'm a 4.2.
I'm afraid you're actually a 4.183.
That's so rough. That's so rough to watch. Anyways, so how far are we from gatekeeping due to algorithms or AI being influential on how we travel or what we're doing, what we're accessing?
Yeah, so the incentives or disincentives, again, this is in certain countries, this is starting to become more and more real about what you can and can't do. There are also sort of incentives on this process as well. So in certain countries we've gone through, there's been a handful that, let's say to get on a subway or a train, you walk up to a machine and rather than buy a ticket, you actually do sort of 10 exercises. Like, that is actually a thing, and then you get a free pass to get on the train. So there's different ways to sort of think about this technology, both on the positive side and as potentially as a gatekeeper to stop people from in this case getting on a plane. And so it's a really tough sort of environment that we're kind of looking at right here, but this is all very possible and in some cases happening.
To your point earlier, also there are travel services, car services that if you potentially get a 4.1 driver picking you up, you might be a little bit more hesitant than
Sure.
a 5-star.
Yeah. Or you might just go ahead and cancel. No, I don't want that.
Cancel it.
And then
Exactly.
get a new one.
Exactly.
Yeah, we definitely see that today.
That's neat about the jumping jacks. I've seen a new app.
Like squats is the big one. Do
Yeah.
10 squats or 30 squats, you
Right.
get a free ticket.
That's amazing. Yeah, I've seen one advertise that you can't get on your social media until you've done about 10 push-ups or something to the effect.
Similar kind of deal,
That's amazing. All right. Season 4, Episode 5, Metalhead. Fast, ruthless, and autonomous. We meet the machines that don't need any sleep. You know, I would love to have a robot this serious about delivering my Papa John's pizza.
So it can happen. I mean, we're already seeing robots like this. So first, like this scene is focused towards what looks like a robot dog, right? So a couple things here to sort of pay attention to on the technology side, like what's real, what's not. When you see the first clip and the robot dog is chasing a car, right? The typical dog chasing a car, what is it going to do when it catches it, right? But when you actually look at that sort of that van in time, so that van can go 0 to 60 in about 10 seconds. That clip was roughly from the time they started that van, it was about 12 seconds. Now gravel road and kind of turning back and forth, the van's probably going about 45, 50 miles an hour at that time. And the dog catches up to it, the robot dog. When you actually look at how fast the modern day robots can go, they can't go that fast. And so to give you a sense, like a human walking is about 3 miles an hour, a human jogging 6, a human running about 9, a human sprinting about 19. In a perfect environment, the current robot sort of quadruped dogs in sort of the commercial space, a perfect environment, they can go about 11 miles an hour, straight ahead. But that everything has to be sort of perfect to do that. Not on gravel road, not running, not sort of doing all of those things. So the dog is never going to be able to run that fast, not faster than sort of a car. In the second scene, you see the dog sort of running over a hill. When I do the math and look at sort of the tree in that and try and figure out how far it's going and the speed, it's actually going at about 122 miles an hour. The dog can't run that fast. It's not possible. Like if we even try and put it in terms of a cheetah, like a cheetah can only run 60 to 70 miles an hour over a really short period of time. There's no way any sort of robot dog that is in our near future is going to be able to run 122 miles an hour, even if it's delivering your pizza. Like not gonna happen, right? So then the next one, which is sort of interesting, is it shows what the dog sees, which is what we call LiDAR. So it is a laser-based model that so small little laser pulses are coming out of the dog in order for, in this case, the dog to figure out where rocks are and where objects are and where things are. And it's hyper sensitive. So it really gets into really good sort of detail. They did a good job in the clip. That is what LiDAR looks like. It's a bunch of dots mapped over an environment that the robot can actually sort of figure out. Those are being used in real sort of robots and robot dogs right now, and it actually looks like that. So they did a good job sort of with that. The last scene on this one is sort of a robot hacking a door, like a garage door kind of a thing. The funny part of this is this robot sort of raises up, which they can do, the commercial sort of dogs can actually do, and then it has like an R2-D2 sort of plug that goes in to hack it. And so Riley, can a garage door be hacked, and do you really need to plug something in to do that?
Absolutely, they can be hacked, and absolutely not do you need to plug anything into it. You can do that from across the street if you wanted to, with something like a Flipper Zero if you have the right combination of signal with that garage. So the robot could have just sat there and have the door open, but that's not cinematic. That's not very exciting.
So season 3, episode 6, Hated in the Nation. In a world where AI bees replace real ones. Today we unpack autonomy, surveillance, and swarm intelligence.
So this is really being worked on. So you saw a little bit of a clip of sort of the bees in this shape, and you sort of mess them up and they come back to the shape. So this idea of autonomous small drones absolutely being used all over the world for fireworks shows and lots of different kinds of things. The question really is, can you do it on that small of a scale? People are worried about bees. People are worried about bees not being able to sort of pollinate and sort of make more and more plants and food and all of the things that are important to us. So it is a challenge that if we lose bees, people are thinking, well, maybe we can use robot bees to help solve that potential problem. Now, the challenge really is we can make something that small, like that's possible. We've already created little things that can fly around that small. We haven't been able to really figure out how to make something that small and put all of the AI technology in it. As soon as we put the technology in it, it goes to sort of 9, 12 inches in size. So we haven't yet been able to combine all of the technology elements we need with sort of a really small sort of size of the bee yet, but we're actually getting pretty close.
They need rudimentary pattern recognition in order to locate compatible flora and navigate.
They navigate.
Yes.
You don't, I don't know, steer them.
They're autonomous. That's right, isn't it? They make their own decisions. They look after themselves.
Yes. You see, the ADIs cover the whole of the UK. We couldn't command each one individually ourselves. It's just not logistically possible. No. We simply set the behavior and leave them to it. They even construct these hives themselves. They reproduce.
Reproduce?
Yes. Each hive is a replication point.
It's like a 3D printer, basically.
Exactly. They create duplicates of themselves and create more hives and spread out exponentially.
Riley, how autonomous are drones now?
Drones can be pretty much as autonomous as you want. There's a bit of ethical implication to that on how autonomous do you want the drone to be. Say if it's just going from point A to point B, it doesn't need somebody to fly it around. It can do that totally on its own.
A couple of interesting things in this scene. One, it's hard to get all the tech that small, but we're getting closer and closer. Like that part of it is possible. Leveraging technology around a swarm type of activity in the same way we do the light shows and things like that, that absolutely is viable. That technology exists. Again, just hard to get it that sort of small. The next one is it says it sort of uses hives and then uses the hives as sort of a 3D printer to replicate itself. Now, that's the part really that's a stretch. Like in order to create a 3D printed environment to create more of these bees with all of the technology in them, like that would be a significant effort. Like you wouldn't be able to sort of set them out and let them find all the materials they need to put it into a 3D printer to create another bee. Like not likely any time in the near future that you'd have a self-sufficient 3D generated hive that can keep self-replicating without any interference from the outside world. Not possible.
Not possible. Okay.
Pretty much 3D printers right now on a consumer basis can only print type of plastic materials generally. Sure, you can infuse those with all sorts of carbon fiber, nylon, fiberglass, all sorts of stuff. But if you want to print a metal 3D printer, those are considerably more expensive and a lot more difficult to maintain. So like Hart said, like the 3D printing, that's small with kind of self-sourced materials for every bit of the printing. So not just the stuff you're printing, the printer itself and all the tech in the printer, that's all going to be replicated somehow. So we are definitely ways off from that type of stuff.
All right, well, thank you guys for joining us today. This was fun. You guys have a good time?
Absolutely, love it.
Absolutely.
We are the AI experts, and we're reacting to a variety of different content that's out there. If there's anything that you'd like us to look at, review, then leave it in the comments below, and we'll see you again real soon. Thanks. Bye, y'all.